They called it the City of Gold. They called it the miracle in the desert. They told you that if you bought a piece of the Dubai skyline, you weren't just buying an apartment. You were buying a ticket to eternal wealth. Real estate agents in shiny suits sold the dream to investors from London to New York, promising guaranteed returns, tax-free profits, and a lifestyle that makes Beverly Hills look like a suburb. And for a while, the world believed them. Cranes filled the sky, islands were dredged from the sea, and prices went vertical. But today, the music has stopped. The cranes are still there, but many of them aren't moving. The luxury towers are gleaming in the sun, but if you look closely at night, you will see something terrifying: darkness. Floor after floor of unlit windows. The sold-out developments are ghost towns. The guaranteed returns have evaporated, and the investors who poured their life savings into this desert dream are waking up to a financial nightmare. We are going to expose the catastrophic reality of the Dubai real estate market that the government and the developers are desperate to hide. We are going to investigate why property values in prime locations are plummeting, why thousands of investors are trapped in zombie projects that will never be finished, and why top economic analysts are quietly warning that the Dubai bubble hasn't just leaked, it has officially popped. This is the story of the greatest real estate Ponzi scheme of the 21st century. You need to understand the scale of the deception. Dubai isn't just a city, it is a corporation. And like any corporation, it needs constant cash flow to survive. For the last 20 years, that cash flow came from one source: selling off-plan properties to foreigners. Off-plan means you wish you pay for a house that doesn't exist yet. You give the developer a deposit, usually 20% or 30%, and you promise to pay the rest as they build it. It sounds standard, right? But in Dubai, it became a mania. Developers launched projects on Monday and declared them sold out by Tuesday. Lines of buyers would queue overnight just to put a deposit on a rendering of a villa. It was mass hysteria. But here's the secret they didn't tell you. The demand was fake. It wasn't end users buying homes to live in. It was speculators flipping paper contracts to other speculators. It was a game of musical chairs, and everyone thought they would sell to a greater fool before the music stopped. Well, look around. The music has stopped, and there are no chairs left. Let's talk about the oversupply crisis. This is the fundamental math problem that is destroying the market. Basic economics teaches us that price is determined by supply and demand. If demand is high and supply is low, prices go up. But Dubai broke the laws of physics. They kept building supply even when demand softened. Right now, there are tens of thousands of luxury units hitting the market simultaneously. You have the expansion of downtown, the new towers in Business Bay, the endless sprawl of Dubai Hills, and the massive new waterfront projects at Dubai Harbor. Who is going to live in them? The population of wealthy expats is not growing fast enough to absorb this tsunami of concrete. The government knows this bubble is bursting. They are trying everything to keep it inflated. They are issuing golden visas to anyone who buys property, effectively selling residency to prop up real estate prices. They are reforming laws to allow 100% foreign ownership of companies. They are desperate to keep the population growing because if the population shrinks, the real estate market collapses overnight. But you cannot fight gravity. The Saudi factor is the elephant in the room that nobody wants to talk about. Riyadh is aggressively targeting the regional headquarters of multinational companies. They have told companies, if you want government contracts in Saudi Arabia, the biggest economy in Daldamat, the region, you must move your HQ to Riyadh by 2024. This is a direct declaration of economic war on Dubai. As companies move their HQs to Saudi, the high-income executives move with them. They sell their Dubai villas. They cancel their Dubai leases. Demand drops. Prices drop. Dubai is losing its monopoly as the business hub of the Middle East, and its real estate market is priced for a monopoly that no longer exists. Let's talk about the artificial scarcity. Developers often release projects in phases. They say phase 1 is sold out to create panic, FOMO. But in reality, they might have only released 10% of the units. They hold back the inventory to manipulate the price. It is market manipulation, pure and simple. And when the market turns, as it is doing now, all that shadow inventory gets dumped, causing a crash. I have seen internal reports from property consultancies that paint a grim picture for 2025 and 2026. They predict a significant correction. That is corporate speak for a crash. They cite affordability constraints and saturation. Think about the environmental aspect too. These glass towers in the desert are energy nightmares. As global standards for sustainability rise, these inefficient buildings will become stranded assets. International investors, especially institutional funds from Europe and the US, are increasingly refusing to buy assets that don't meet ESG, environmental, social, and governance criteria. Dubai's real estate is, by definition, environmentally hostile. This shrinks the pool of potential future buyers even further. And what about the Airbnb bust? Thousands of investors bought apartments to put them on short-term rental platforms, promised high yields from tourists. But as we discussed in our previous video, tourism is softening. Hotel rates are dropping. If a five-star hotel is slashing rates, how can you compete with your Airbnb apartment? You can't. You have to lower your price. Your yield compresses. Suddenly, the income doesn't cover the mortgage. You are forced to sell into a falling market. The Dubai real estate miracle was built on cheap debt, geopolitical instability elsewhere, and brilliant marketing. All three pillars are crumbling. Interest rates are high globally, making mortgages expensive. The region is unstable in a way that hurts investment, and the marketing hype is losing its effect as people wake up to the reality. Look at the history. Dubai crashed in 2009. Property prices fell by 50% to 60%. It happened again in 2015-2016. Prices fell by 25% to 30%. We are now at the peak of another cycle. The signs are exactly the same as they were before the previous crashes: rampant speculation, off-plan mania, and a disconnect between prices and local incomes. History is repeating itself, but this time the stakes are higher because the competition, Saudi, is fiercer. The stories of individual ruin are heartbreaking. I recently read about a British expat who, put his pension into 2 off-plan apartments in 2008. The project was canceled. He spent 10 years in court. He got back pennies on the dollar. He lost his retirement. He left Dubai broke. Or the story of a family who bought a villa, only to find out a year later that the master developer decided to build a highway right behind their garden, destroying their peace and the value of their home. In Dubai, the master developer is God. You have no rights to complain. Your view can be blocked, your community fees can be doubled, and your layout can be changed. You are not a landowner. You are a passenger on a ride you cannot control. So is there any value in Dubai real estate? Sure. If you are a cash buyer who plans to live there for 20 years and you don't care about the price. But as an investment, as a way to build wealth, it is a minefield. The odds are stacked against you. The deck is rigged by the developers who write the rules. The smart money knows this. The big institutional investors, the pension funds, the sovereign wealth funds, they don't buy residential apartments in Dubai. They know the risks are too high and the yields are too volatile. The market is sustained by individual retail investors, mom and pop investors, who are seduced by the glitz and don't read the fine print. Don't be the mom and pop investor who gets left holding the bag. If you own property in Dubai right now, you need to ask yourself a serious question. Is this the top? If you are sitting on paper profits from the last 2 years, maybe it is time to cash out before the liquidity vanishes. Because when the panic starts, there are no buyers in Dubai. The bid disappears. You can list your property, but the phone won't ring. And if you are thinking about buying, wait, look at the data, not the brochure. Look at the supply pipeline. Look at the rental yields, the real ones, after service charges. The numbers don't lie. The market is saturated. The bubble has popped. The air is just leaking out slowly right now. But soon, it will be a rush for the exits. This isn't about hating Dubai. It is about understanding risk. Real estate is supposed to be a safe asset. In Dubai, it is a high-stakes casino gamble. And in a casino, the house always wins. The skyline of Dubai is a monument to human ambition, but it is also a monument to financial excess and speculation. Don't let your financial future become just another brick in a ghost tower. I want to hear from you. Do you own property in Dubai? Have you seen your rent skyrocket or your property value stagnate? Are you seeing the empty towers I'm talking about? Share your story in the comments. We need to expose the truth so others don't fall into the trap. And listen, if you found this analysis valuable, if you appreciate someone telling you the uncomfortable truth about the global economy, please do me a favor. Smash that like button. It helps us break through the algorithm and reach more people who need to hear this warning. Make sure you are subscribed to the channel and have that notification bell turned on. We are investigating the Saudi mega projects next. You won't believe what is happening in the desert across the border. Stay skeptical, stay safe, and watch your wallet. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video. I spoke to a real estate broker who left Dubai last month. He told me, "It's a bloodbath. I have clients who bought apartments in 2014 for $1 million. Today, they are struggling to sell them for $600,000. That is a 40% loss in a decade where the rest of the world saw a real estate boom. And the developers, they don't care about the resale market. They just keep launching new towers next door, undercutting the old investors with shiny new payment plans. It is a Ponzi scheme where the early investors get crushed by the new supply. This is the developer trap. In a normal market, if prices drop, builders stop building. In Dubai, they accelerate. Why? Because the entire economy depends on construction jobs and selling land. They cannot stop. If they stop, the economy collapses. So they build more ghost towers to keep the GDP looking green, effectively diluting the value of every existing property in the city. Take a look at the Palm Jumeirah. It is the icon of Dubai, the eighth wonder of the world. But did you know that prices for villas on the Palm are still in many cases below their 2008 peak when adjusted for inflation? Think about that. If you bought a prime asset almost 20 years ago, you have lost money in real terms. That is not an investment. That is wealth destruction. And it gets worse. The maintenance fees, or service charges, are skyrocketing. In Dubai, you don't just own the apartment. You pay for the upkeep of the building, the pool, the gym, the security. These fees are unregulated in practice and can amount to thousands of dollars a month. Imagine buying an apartment for investment, expecting rental income, only to find that 30% or 40% of your rent is eaten up by service charges. And if the building has vacancies, the remaining owners have to cover the shortfall. This leads to the negative equity nightmare. We are seeing thousands of owners who are underwater. They owe the bank more than the property is worth. They want to sell, but they can't bring cash to the closing table to pay off the difference. So they are stuck. They are prisoners of their own luxury apartments, bleeding cash every month on mortgage payments and service fees for an asset that is depreciating. But the most dangerous part of this bubble is the off-plan Ponzi. Here is how it works. A developer launches Tower A. They collect millions in deposits. But instead of using that money to build Tower A, they use it to buy land for Tower B and launch that marketing campaign. They need the sales from Tower B to pay for the construction of Tower A. It works as long as new money keeps flowing in. But what happens when sales slow down? The chain breaks. This is why Dubai is littered with zombie projects. Look at the Dubai Pearl. It was supposed to be a magnificent city within a city. Today, it is a rotting concrete skeleton near the entrance of the Palm, an eyesore that has stood unfinished for over a decade. Look at the Palm Jebel Ali. It was dredged from the sea 15 years ago. It sat as a pile of sand for a generation. They are trying to revive it now, but the scars of the previous crash are still visible. Investors in these stalled projects lost everything. Their money is gone. The developer declared bankruptcy or vanished. And the legal system? Good luck. Foreign investors often find themselves navigating a labyrinth of courts with little hope of recovering their deposits. The message is clear. You are welcome to bring your money, but don't expect to get it back if things go wrong. We also need to talk about the quality crisis. In the rush to build fast and cheap, quality control was thrown out the window. We are seeing reports of luxury towers that are less than 10 years old already falling apart. Leaking pipes, cracking facades, failing air conditioning systems, mold issues. Imagine buying a luxury penthouse for $2 million only to have sewage back up into your living room because the plumbing was done by the lowest bidder. This is happening. And because the buildings degrade so quickly in the harsh desert climate, the depreciation curve is brutal. A 10-year-old building in New York or London is historic. A 10-year-old building in Dubai is old and often undesirable compared to the brand new launch next door. Then there is the geopolitical risk. Dubai is in a volatile neighborhood, the war in Gaza, the tensions in the Red Sea, the instability in Iran. All of this impacts investor confidence. Real estate is a fear asset. When people are scared, they don't buy illiquid assets in the Middle East. They buy gold or U.S. treasuries. The capital flight is real. We are also seeing a massive shift in who is buying. For years, the market was propped up by Russian money-fleeing sanctions. The Moscow effect. Russians came in with suitcases of cash and bought everything in sight, driving prices up in 2022 and 2023. But that wave has crested. The ruble has crashed. The Russians are selling or moving on to other havens like Thailand or Turkey. Who replaces them? The Chinese? Their economy is in crisis. The Europeans? They are broke. The greater fool theory is running out of fools. And let's look at the rental market, because this is the other side of the coin. You might hear news that rents are rising in Dubai. And yes, asking prices are up. But this is actually a bad sign for the real estate market's health. Why? Because it is squeezing the end user. Dubai was built on the promise of tax-free living, but with rents skyrocketing due to landlord greed and inflation, the cost of living has become unbearable for the average expat. Professionals are leaving. Families are packing up and moving back to Europe or moving to Saudi Arabia, where salaries are higher and the cost of living is currently lower. When the tenants leave, the landlords face voids. A vacant month destroys your annual yield. And remember those service charges? You have to pay them whether the unit is rented or not. We are approaching a tipping point where owning property in Dubai becomes a liability, not an asset. I want you to picture the Palm Jumeirah at night. It looks beautiful from a distance, but zoom in. Look at the fronds, the residential branches, count the lights. You will see that a huge percentage of these villas are dark. They are second homes for the ultra-wealthy who visit for 2 weeks a year. Or they are speculative investments sitting empty, waiting for a capital appreciation that will never come. This is not a real city. It is a safety deposit box made of stucco, and safety deposit boxes are only valuable if you can get your money out. Right now, liquidity is drying up. If you try to sell a secondary market property, a used home, you will find that buyers are scarce. They all want the new off-plan project with the 1% monthly payment plan. You are competing against the developers who have deeper pockets and better marketing teams than you do. You cannot win.